We just have so much work to do. We're doing a lot of work in precinct organizing, and I didn't bring the flyer, but we're putting out flyers right now, door to door. We don't have to talk to anybody. We'd like to talk to people, but some people are shy about talking to people. So we don't have to, but we're putting out flyers about getting on the permanent mail ballot list. And you know, the Trump administration is so pervasive and pernicious. We are thinking we need permanent mail ballots to avoid mayhem at the polls, which they have threatened, but now they're threatening the mails. So, but what we're still advocating to get on the permanent mail ballot list, partly because you can always just, first of all, you never miss an election. Just who's on the permanent mail ballot list? Good, great. Yeah, okay, a lot of us are. The rest of you, get on the permanent mail ballot list. Everybody at home, hi, everybody at home. It's good to see you, or not see you, but to know you're there. So get on the permanent mail ballot list. That way you get every ballot 45 days before the election. You have time to research the candidates. You have time to then fill out your ballot as you want, and you can drop it off at the clerk's office or at your local drop box, which you can find at mivoter.org. Put your street address in at mivoter.org, and you will find your nearest drop box. It's a really great tool. So that's one of the big things we're doing. Of course, we are working on the endorsement process too, which is what makes mivoter.org so valuable. I think most of you know that we cannot endorse during primaries, which is really hard. We have to sit on our hands during primaries and just wait for the voters to speak. But we are collecting information from all candidates and getting it online before the primary, so long before the primary, so you have a chance to do your research before you have to vote in the primary. And you all are diehards. Obviously, you're here on a beautiful summer Saturday morning. You're diehards. So you know how important the primaries are. Especially if the primaries are important everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. In Washtenaw County, the primary typically is the election. That is the election. That's it. So because we are so overwhelmingly Democratic, but everywhere primaries are essential to deciding who gets on the ticket. Does anybody know what percentage of voters usually votes in primaries? Something like that, 20, 6 in sometimes. I mean, just like a tiny percentage of passionate people vote in the primaries and decide for everybody else who's going to be on their November ballot. This is hugely important. A lot of people do not get that. They do not understand it. You all know because you're all here. But make sure everybody understands how important the August 4th primary is. And people will say, well, August, everybody's out of town. Correct. Well, if you're in Lock-In, you have a lake house. I said to somebody once, I was standing in a 4th of July parade line, and like there are a lot of people at their lake houses. And I said, I don't know anybody with a lake house. And this woman says, oh, yeah, you do. Which was true, but really was annoying to hear. Tom? Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Use the QR code and take you right to the website. What this does is give us 10 years of history of every county in the state of Michigan. Who voted for how many? This information is very useful. So I'll pass these along.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks very much. Typically, we have those out front. I'm gonna so get on the permanent mail ballot list, especially to vote in the primary, right? Because then you're going to get the ballot before you head out to your lake house or whatever you're lucky enough to have, or go, oh, just a minute, I see you. So that then you can vote in the primary and tell all your friends to do that. But then don't mail the ballots back, drop the ballots back. Yeah. You can have your ballot mailed anywhere. It doesn't have to be at your home address. Yeah, but I know, but if you're, well, yeah, but you're not, well, okay. But you're going to get your ballot at least a month in advance anyway, right? Is it 19 days now? Oh, from today, 19 days from today, get on the permanent mail ballot. Let's make sure everybody is on it. We also do a lot of visibility, and Dee Dee Massell is the chair of our co-chair of our visibility committee, and I want Dee Dee to talk to you about our next events.
Thanks. Yeah, so what is visibility? We, in addition to knocking on doors, which is a really critical thing we do, we also push ourselves out into community events so that we table there, people can come up to us. It's a really friendly way to kind of engage with voters and do fun things like Jeopardy games or quizzes or just listening to people. And that's one of the things I think a lot of people feel right now, that nobody is listening to them. So we go to Chelsea, we're at the Chelsea Sounds and Sights, we're at Milan Pride, we're doing Ann Arbor Pride, Ann Arbor Art Fair, the Saline Community Fair. Coming up next are the Juneteenth in Ann Arbor, Juneteenth here in Ypsi. We're starting farmers market. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And we never let people go by themselves. You always have a buddy. And we provide training on how to listen, be friendly, lower the temperature because there are some cray people out there. And you really have to know sort of how to kind of put a buffer between yourself and the cray people, or just listen to them. So I really encourage you, and the sign up form out here, we ask if you wanted to do some of the tabling events. If you changed your mind because I've convinced you, go back out and next to your sign up sheet and indicate so. It's really fun. And it's kind of, if you're going to do the canvassing and not door knocking, it's a great way to kind of get warmed up and talking to people. So I just really encourage you to do it. Oh, one more thing. We are also at the Ann Arbor 4th of July Parade and the Ypsi 4th of July Parade. We do both. You can pick one, but we really encourage you to join us at that. It's going to be fun. We got Lady Liberty, who's going to ride in the parade with us. We really encourage electeds to ask their parade committee when you sign up for it, to ask to walk near the Democrats. We walk behind Debbie Dingle, and we really, in this terrible time in our democracy, we really need to show people that the Democratic Party is strong. And I know we're all fried. I know we're fried, but showing up, being visible, really sends a powerful message. So we really encourage you to do that. Yes?
I signed up for the farmers market to work in just any weekend or whenever it is. So we haven't started that yet. That's the question.
Well, let's talk. There are signups on our webpage. That's a good point. Right. If you go to our webpage, or if you're on our newsletter, if you're not on our newsletter, sign up for that. We always have the events and links to the events, the sign up forms on the webpage and in the newsletter. We'll talk later. Okay. All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dee. It really is. We are fried, but it is the most fun thing to do, is to get out and talk to people. People who come up to your table because they want to talk to Dems. And most of them are not there to yell at you. Most of them are there to say, thank God you're here. We're so glad you're here. This is such a terrible time. We're really happy to see you here. So we plan in the 4th of July parades, which are incredibly fun, to march with all of our electeds, including Jimmy Wilson. Come on over. And the candidates. We want to march with all of our candidates, all of our electeds, to show how strong the Democratic Party is in Washtenaw County. Jimmy Wilson, Representative Jimmy Wilson. Who's represented by Jimmy? All right, you got a fresh crowd.
Thank you. Jimmy Wilson, state rep here in the Ypsilanti area, and I'm in my second term as a state legislator. And I just want to give you an update on what's going on in Lansing. I won't be too long. I'll just give you 3 points. One is probably not that exciting. We'll talk about some budget stuff. Second one is kind of more spicy, that really affects all of you directly. We're talking about conventions. And then the third point is something I'm really excited about on flipping the House. So the first point is, see, you're excited already. That's what I want to hear. First point, the budget. State legislators, we have one responsibility, one duty: pass a budget, preferably on time. last year, we just barely got in on time, and it was due to shenanigans from our Republican Speaker of the House, Matt Hall. And back in 2019, there was a statute passed, signed into law that says you shall pass a budget by July 1st. Why? Because school districts need to know how much to expect in the upcoming school year, right? We got NBA in the house. Unfortunately, last year we went all the way up to the fiscal deadline of September 30th, October 1st. I think we didn't pass it by October 3rd. But this year I am optimistic that we will at least have a school aid budget done by the end of the month. Because of the election year, and Republicans don't want to go into election year looking like they don't care about schools again, because they actually don't. But I'm pretty optimistic about the school aid budget being done by the end of the month. Now, the other part of the budget, all the state departments, I'm about 50% optimistic that we'll have it done on time. I'd like to think they don't want to go into the fall without having a budget in place. But I'm pretty confident about our schools, making sure that they know what to expect in the upcoming school year. So we're in negotiations right now to try to hammer that down. So we'll keep you all posted on that. Second point, conventions. We've probably heard a lot of rumblings this week about changing how we do our conventions and how we nominate AG, SOS, and our 3 research institutions, and how we elect or appoint those boards. And what was presented this week was from Speaker Matt Hall again. While there were some negotiations in the background with the governor and some of our Senate Dems and Matt Hall, somehow Matt Hall just ended up doing his own thing on his own, and he created his own version of how we nominate the university boards. And what it basically said is that it'll all be appointment. All the university boards would be appointments. We're talking specifically U of M, Wayne State, and Michigan State. And it would say that the legislature nominates or gets to appoint 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and then the governor would have the choice of some kind of, I don't know how they would vet an independent candidate, but it just said independent candidate. And the governor would get to appoint that person. And also, the fun fact is that in the legislation, it said that at the end of the year, this year, December 31st, everyone who's on those 3 boards right now are wiped out and we start over. And so clearly, this is a non-starter for all Democrats. The labor unions were all over it, and they said, this is terrible. This was not negotiated. And that's even if you want to change it at all. So Democrats were all no's on this in the House. You actually had to have 2/3 vote to get this onto the ballot. They didn't even get 2/3 vote in the chamber, so it did fail. But I do want to give you this fact. There is appetite to do something with the 3 university boards and possibly the AG and SOS. There is appetite from Republicans and Democrats in Lansing to do something different. Now, what that looks like, everyone has their own version of what that looks like. So make sure you're reaching out to your legislators to let them know, keep it the same, change it up, whatever your opinion is. Make sure you let them know where you stand on it. There is appetite from some Dems to just go straight to the primary ballot and take it out of the convention. There are some people that want to do some kind of an appointment process, but where this stems from is some people are not happy with some of the ethical things that are going on with some of our universities, at least those 3 institutions specifically, and really it probably leans more towards Michigan State's and all the issues they've had over the years here. And I think that's really where this is boiling from, if you're talking about ethics. However, as you all know, some people may just be upset at how the convention went, and so they want to change it as well. And so right now, nothing has passed, nothing has changed, but there is appetite to do something. And so you won't see anything on your August ballot because we had to pass it this week if we were going to do that. That did not happen. But that doesn't mean that something still can't come down the line and change. So make sure you're letting your legislators know how you feel. So I'll just leave it there with that. And you can take questions after. I can. Let me hit my 3rd point and then I'll come back. And Debbie's here too. So 3rd point, a little more exciting. election year, and we have 7 state reps that touch Washtenaw County in some form or fashion. You know the Dems, myself, Jason Morgan, Jen Conlon, Morgan Foreman, Kerry Rangans, and we have Reggie Miller that touches Augusta Township, Milan, York. But then we have Kathy Schmoltz that's touching Chelsea. Republican, nice woman. She doesn't vote correctly. It's terrible voting history. I mean, this week, Speaker Hall, he wanted to put up something about gender affirming care and wiping it out, banning it. She voted yes for it, you know, so we got to get her out of there. We have a great candidate, Jan Mano. She is on the East Jackson School Board. She's actually president of that school board. And we're really pushing her. She's a great candidate. I think she's going to take her out this year. So if you want to go knock some doors for her, make sure you're supporting Jan Mano. And then over on the other side, Reggie Miller, she's been great, but she is not running again. But fortunately, she found another great candidate, City Council, Milan City Council, Shannon Darwayne. Shannon Darwayne is running in her place. She's a great candidate. And so if you're on that side of the county or you just want to help out, go and support her. So we have a great lineup of candidates. We're challenging all 110 state house seats this year. And so I think that we actually have a realistic, not just a 1 vote majority. I think we really can get like 60 to 62 votes in the House. I think we really can have a nice majority where we can pass a lot of great things. So we're really optimistic, plus the blue wave behind us, hopefully. I think that this is going to be a good year. So just make sure you get involved in the fall for all that good stuff. So I think I'll leave it there and turn it back over to the chair. And we have our Congresswoman here. So I'll be hanging around if you have some questions. Thank you.
Women's prison.
Here. We'll get to that. Thanks. Thank you, Jimmy. And I'm so glad we're going to actually have sign up links for those 2 really critical House seats. We're going to have sign up links for those 2 really critical House seats in our newsletter and on our website coming up here. Okay, the next few days. Congresswoman Dingell, everybody give a round of applause.
Thank you. And we're going to start organizing weekend canvases by the critical districts, working with Washtenaw County and everybody else. So we're all going to be working together. We have to take the state house back this year, period. And we got to win the governor's race. And by the way, we are going to take the U.S. House back, and we got to make sure we keep the Senate seat Democratic in Michigan. We're ground zero like we always are. So I want to say that too, and it's going to be a lot of work. So Washington is its normal shit show. And I'll talk up here about issues, but there's just so much going on right now. And I want to say 6th District, we really got to be what we always are. We got to turn out the votes. We got to make sure that we got Democratic votes delivering the national Senate seat in November, that we keep it Democratic, and we got to be working for all of these candidates. But in our normal, we never know what our total schedule is because Republicans don't have the votes, which is good. This week, maybe I just talk about this week, we were able to do 2 votes. That we actually got 4 Republicans. One of them, quite frankly, it shows you that he knows that he's in trouble. Tom Barrett was one of them. And we won a War Powers Act resolution saying to the president, you must come to the Congress on Iran. You cannot. Every Democrat voted for it, 4 Republicans did. We won that vote. We also had a vote in the House Thursday night that was a War Powers Act on Lebanon. And I voted for it with Rashida. We will have another vote on July 1. It got complicated this week, and I don't know some days if I should go into details or, but some people interpreted the resolution that we passed this week that the military would not be able to continue to provide security for the U.S. Embassy in Beirut or continue to help train the Lebanese military. And Rashida filed a third resolution, which will ripen on July 1st. Leadership, Catherine Clark and Hakeem and Pete, voted against Rashida's resolution. There were 91 Dems, myself being one of them, that voted for it. And you know, many of us have Lebanese friends, neighbors. I lived in Dearborn for many years, as you all know. People don't understand that in southern Lebanon, entire villages are being eliminated. You know people, I know, you know people whose families' homes have been destroyed, schools have been hit, families are being killed. And I mean, it's what's happening in Lebanon isn't okay. So there'll be, my guess is that the third resolution will ripen July. When we say that, that means when you file a war resolution, it gets parliamentary and people. But when you do it as a privileged motion, you can then call it up after it's been, and the Lebanon third resolution will be a privileged motion that will ripen and be ready to be voted on July 1st. And I do believe that all Democrats, or most Democrats, will vote for the July one, so it won't be a divided Democratic Party. And if we can get some Republican votes for that, we might actually be able to get that to pass as well. So the war continues, as you all know. What hour does he? I don't believe anything Donald Trump says. He'll say the war is almost over, and then the bombing happens in the next hour. What is more outrageous is the slush fund. It's all outrageous because people are dying and we are spending billions of dollars on a war in the Mideast while gasoline prices are going up, cost of food is going up, and people are really hurting in this country. But then we have a slush fund that is what is actually $1,776,000,000. We call it the $1.8 billion dollar fund that would actually pay convicted people that went January 6th and attacked police officers, were convicted of it, and now they're asking for settlements. It is the most unethical, criminal, not use of taxpayers' money. And people, that's so bad, they don't talk about how they also cut a deal so Donald Trump never had to be audited again on his taxes, and probably is a $100 million gift to Donald Trump. It is wrong. It is criminally wrong. It is ethically wrong. And we are fighting that every step of the way. And then the acting attorney general, who he's trying to make his attorney general, who was his personal attorney, and only cares about Donald Trump, not any other American, will say, no, it's not going to happen. And yet, when the Senate was considering votes, when the reconciliation bill was up, they were in all night Thursday night trying to get money for ICE and Custom and Border Patrol. Many Republicans supported amendments that would still allow that fund to be there. So we will next week vote on a reconciliation bill that when it goes through the Senate, because it's reconciliation, you can't filibuster it. It only requires a majority of votes. The Senate flew back with Gary yesterday. He walked off the floor at 5 a.m. yesterday morning. It's going to come to us. Now, I think almost every Democrat will vote against it. I don't know what members of the Freedom Caucus will do. So I know I never thought I would be depending on Tom Massey so much in my life. But it's just wrong. It's just the money for ICE is wrong. The money for Custom and Border Patrol is wrong. And the money for this slush fund is wrong. The money for all of these things. And that's coming up. And why we're doing all this bullshit, farmers are hurting. They're at a higher rate of bankruptcy than we've ever seen in the history of this country. And we can't get a farm bill through. Or the farm bill that they want to put through screws farmers, doesn't take care of them. We will also have this next week, a FISA bill, which I'm telling you point blank, I will not vote for as long as Bill Pulte is an acting head of an excellent intelligence service. This man is unqualified. This is one of the most important jobs we have in this country about protecting our national security. This man is weaponizing the intelligence that he can get. And people, look what he's done to Lisa Cook, who lives in our community, whose home is in Ann Arbor. He has no intelligence background. He has nothing that makes him want to keep any of you safe or any other American in this room. So it is very, FISA will be up. I do want to keep our country safe, but as Jamie Raskin will tell you, the current things that are in place don't expire really until later this year. So, and we do need to protect Americans. We need to make sure that they are not collecting data that does not have warrants. We are a nation of laws. People are entitled to due process, and we have to be willing to stand up for what our true values are and not compromise. So there's no lack of subjects. I could keep talking about a whole surface transportation, but I'm going to tell you, because I want to tell you here in this room that I think that it's absolutely critical that we win the House and we fight the Senate, but I'm not going to change my values. And I'm someone who has spent my whole life fighting against violence against women and against domestic violence. And people are asking me how I feel about the Maine race. I don't vote in Maine. I vote in Michigan. But I am never going to say it's okay for a woman to have been attacked, for someone to say she invited it upon herself because of the way she dressed. So I'm not going to defend what somebody else did. I think Democrats have got to keep their values strong and solid and know what we stand for. Having said that, the man in the White House has done far worse than what he did. And we need to have a check. And the country knows we need to have a check on what's happening. So I'm glad I'm not voting in Maine. I voted in Michigan, but God damn it, we can never say it's okay for a man to attack a woman. And I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to be who I am. So, unfortunately, there are 1,000 other subjects, and Yousef wants to ask me one, and I can't talk about them all today because you want to hear from his Ann Arbor Council.
Just wondering what.
Well, we've had a war resolution. I mean, there's been war resolutions for, I don't appreciate being told we're not doing enough when I fucking voted on 2 war resolutions this week. And I'm going to tell you that people like me are standing up and saying what he's doing in Cuba is wrong. And I don't appreciate being attacked by people because Republicans are sitting on a resolution and speaking up and speaking out. November, elections have consequences, and elect Democrats so you can actually stand up to them. That's what I'm going to tell you. Well, I've been very vocal about what he's doing in Venezuela and Cuba. So you're fucking elected a Republican Congress in this state, help do it, and they won't bring it up. So don't go after Democrats that are speaking up and speaking out. I'm sick of civil war and Democrats speaking out against Democrats. Let's elect a majority that'll actually do something. Sorry. And by the way, some of us are working very hard on the Huron Valley Women's Caucus. Many state legislators signed a letter of demand. I was not asked. I yelled at Rashida and said, how dare you sign a letter for my district and not ask me? Lori Patuski apologized to me. It was supposed to be only a state legislator. I have a letter going to the governor on Monday that is very direct, asking for answers for questions and demanding answers within 10 days. And by the way, I've yelled at her, like, how you hear the Debbie Dingle yell? She got the Debbie Dingle yell.
Hi, thank you. I just was hoping for some clarification. I've heard some rumors that in the latest defense authorization or appropriations bill, it's now linking the U.S. military with Israel's, which changes the way that we fund things going on there. And I think that the Michigan senators just voted for that. Can you Can you speak to that?
I don't know what we're gonna get on the floor. I had, there've been a lot of different, I don't, they voted like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a month ago, on an amendment that would not allow the US to sell certain weapons to Israel. And actually, I was sort of surprised both senators voted for it, which I might not have guessed. I don't know what we're gonna get to vote on the House floor. There are a lot of amendments circulating. Like we didn't, like the reconciliation bill will go to the Rules Committee on Monday. And the Freedom Caucus has a lot of votes on the Rules Committee. So they don't have the vote sometimes for rules on these bills. The defense prop and authorization bills are going to be very complicated. There'll be a lot of amendments offered in rules. One of the things right now, we're more focused reconciliation this week. What amendments should we offer at rules and make Republicans be on record for? In the Senate, they can offer amendments from the floor and they don't have to go through a rules committee. In the House, the Rules Committee can vote against amendment not being in order, so we can't force some of the votes on the House floor. I suspect when they come up on the House floor, they'll never let they might think that they're putting some Democrats, they might want some Democrats to vote against what will be interpreted as anti-Israel. I just have no idea what's really going to totally fully make it to the floor of the House.
Okay, thank you.
I want to say something though, because we live in a very unique place in Washtenaw County, and even being close. I said this to Akeem. Jamie Raskin and I were sitting there talking to Akeem on Thursday, and I didn't like the fact that there were so many people voting against Lebanon and but Republicans are trying to pit us against each other. There are people in both communities that are really hurting. And if you know what's happening in Israel, there are going to be elections in the fall. And I talk to people in Israel and they are very torn. I'm not a Netanyahu fan. You all know that I'm not a Netanyahu fan. And I would love it if he was defeated in the fall, but I don't vote in Israel either. But I do think we really need to understand that the anti-Semitism that we saw this week in our community is wrong. That kind of hate should never be tolerated by anybody. And that if you're a member of the Jewish community, they are feeling hate and anti-Semitism in a way I never thought we would see in this country. I don't understand hate. I was not brought up. I was brought up by the nuns to accept everybody. We were all created equal. So the Jewish community is very real in feeling anti-Semitism. But I know people that live in Lebanon and have family in Gaza. We all know people that have family in Iran. And by the way, the regime in Iran still is. They might have killed the father. The son is equally as horrific. They kill, or worse, it's right. They have killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. People are hurting on both sides. We need to find a way to bring everybody together. And I know this war and this hatred has existed for centuries, but people in our community are all equal. And we need to stand up to hate whenever and wherever we see it in a unique position. Remember after 9/11, how we all came together to stand up against hate against anybody? I'm begging all of us. When somebody in our community has been attacked, when we see hate, we need to stand up against it wherever and whenever we see it.
Okay, can I get the library board candidates up here, please, real quick? I want to say one thing. I just want to, there's so much to talk about, obviously, but I really, really want to stress something that she said, which is that everybody blames the Democrats for the shit that's going on. They elected Republicans everywhere. And then it's our fault? because we can't stop them. I just want to be super clear about that. We had a really great seminar last night on data center regulation webinar. Come on up, you guys. Take your place. On data center regulation, and questions were asked about like, how do we get these laws on the books to regulate data centers? And the answer is elect Democrats. Elect Democrats. The worst Democrat is better than the best Republican. So just elect Democrats. Somebody said, Jimmy said that Kathy Schmaltz is a nice person. Seems like a nice person. You know, I've met a lot of Republicans, including my brother, who seems like nice people. They seem like nice people until they take their first goddamn vote. Their first vote, and then you find out who they actually are. So, that's mine. Hey, you guys, am I monitoring this? Oh, nor you are. Thank God you're here.
Good morning. So candidates for the Ann Arbor Library Board, Gaurav Kulkarni, Rachel Goldberg, and Cassie Haynes. 3 minutes apiece, and start.
Well, I'll start. Good morning. My name is Cassie Haynes. It's nice to be here. I'm currently seated as a trustee on the Ann Arbor District Library Board. I was appointed in February to fill a vacancy, and so I'm running for re-election, sharing a slate with my dear friends, Rachel and Gaurav. We didn't know one another before campaigning together, and it's been a dream to work with the two of them. We are vision and value aligned, and I'm looking forward to continuing to serve with y'all as trustees. Currently, I'm the executive director of the Independent Hall Association, which is a history and civic education nonprofit based in Philly. My career has spanned law, population health, and public media. I'm a townie. And the Ann Arbor District Library, specifically the Westgate branch, was the backdrop to many a childhood memory. And as a parent to a 10-year-old, it's been a joy to watch my child lose track of time in the stacks at the Westgate branch. She loves chit-chatting with the librarians who always seem to have the information she's looking for. As a journalist, a civic engagement practitioner, and also as a parent, I am deeply committed to increasing access to and engagement with local news and information. And I'm excited for the partnership between the library and the Ann Arbor Observer. These are two valuable community assets that together would really strengthen Ann Arbor's news and information ecosystem. There are numerous examples of partnerships between public institutions and local news organizations, and I'm confident that ours will be a standout model, like the fairs and expos, the collections, and of course the summer games and many other elements of Ann Arbor District Library's programming, which is due in large part to the current Ann Arbor District Library leadership and staff. Ours is an incredibly strong library system. I'm sure many, if not all of you know how strong our district library system is. We have significant talent among leadership and staff. We have a strong budget, and all three of us are committed to keeping it that way. The next 4 years will not be ordinary years for the district library. We have approved a new downtown branch. The build is on the horizon. We have a once-in-a-generation opportunity to expand access to information, community programming, and local news, and affordable housing that will serve our neighbors in new ways for decades to come. I'm running to continue serving on the library board because I want to see that work through. And I'm committed to an innovative, supportive, and accessible library system that grows with our city and works for everyone in our community. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. My name is Rachel Goldberg. Thank you so much for having us here. I'm a candidate for Ann Arbor District Library Trustee. I'm excited to be running with my dear friends, Cassie and Gaurav. Cassie's background in citizen journalism, local news, and nonprofit management, combined with Gaurav's fierce advocacy for transit, housing, and the physical spaces in that foster community engagement and action here in Ann Arbor, complement my own skills and background, which is why we decided to run as a slate. We have diverse skills and perspectives, but we share a love of the library, its role in our community, and a vision and excitement for the next phase of the Ann Arbor District Library as the new downtown branch begins to take shape. Briefly about me, I'm the school librarian at Wines Elementary in Ann Arbor. I'm also the elementary library department chair for the Ann Arbor Public Schools. I'm also a proud member of the Ann Arbor Education Association, where I serve as building representative. I am about to finish on Tuesday my 17th year in education, where I have worked in a variety of roles, including classroom teacher, school administrator, and librarian. I'm running because I see libraries, education, and collective action as pillars of democracy. And my candidacy for this board is an extension of the personal and professional values I live every day. Libraries are physical spaces designed to foster intellectual curiosity, freedom to explore, connect, discover something new about yourself, the world you live in, and your neighbors. Our library system is a gem, and it is central to community life here in Ann Arbor. If elected, I will use my professional skills and background to protect it from the forces acting in our society to suppress dissent, diversity of thought, and multiple perspectives. I'm tracking federal book banning legislation closely and will fight to protect access to inclusive texts and diverse programming in libraries. In the recently released American Library Association State of American Libraries report, a snapshot of 2025, pressure groups and the decision makers they influenced targeted 7,884 titles in 2025. For context, the average number of targeted titles from 2001 to 2020 was 46. From 2021 to 2025, the annual average was 5,238. These challenges are not coming from parents and community members. They are coming from well-funded and well-organized national groups. We're not immune to this pressure here in Ann Arbor, and if elected, the three of us will do everything we can to fight back and work closely with the other trustees, the amazing library director, and the brilliant library staff to safeguard this beloved institution and all it represents. Again, thank you for having us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gaurav Kulkarni, and I'm running for Ann Arbor District Library Board alongside Cassie and Rachel. I want to talk about how AADL impacts our community beyond books. I grew up in Ann Arbor, and the library has had a pivotal impact on my life. Here are a few examples. One, my wife Sarah and I got married last year. Our first dates were finding summer game codes at library branches, among other places. The summer game, which, as a reminder, is starting in 3 days, is an incredible example of how our library can serve our community and connect people while we learn about our city and our history. Two, I'm on the board of Neighbors for More Neighbors, advocating for more housing. For that organization to exist, we needed physical space to meet and connect with fellow advocates. Our first meetings were at the downtown library, and we continue to hold our board meetings there. The library is one of the only remaining free and public spaces in Ann Arbor, and that is crucial for local organizing. And three, my entrance into Ann Arbor politics was volunteering for Props A and B last year. I got to have such fun conversations with my neighbors about what the library means for them and how big of an impact it's had for people. During that campaign, I also realized that I want to dedicate some part of myself to serving the library in whatever capacity I can. The library is at the center of civic life here in Ann Arbor, and it is a crucial institution, especially at this moment. The rise of fascist rule at a federal level threatens the health and safety of our neighbors. Fascism thrives when we are isolated and ignorant. And so an institution that brings people together, gives space for organizing, facilitates learning, and maintains an archive of our real and true history is a crucial bulwark. Right now is also a time of opportunity because we're about to embark in a once-in-a-generation project, a new downtown library that can ignite our imagination. I dream about a downtown library with the space for all of the things that strengthen our community. This will be one of the biggest priorities for the next board, and I'm excited to advocate for an ambitious and a grand new downtown library, something befitting this community. I also see the job of a trustee as promoting the library in public spaces like this. And so I wanted to end by talking about some ways you can help our library. More than anything, use everything our library has to offer. For instance, go to aadl.org/events and look at the list of events there. Do it with a friend, with a loved one, find the things that seem interesting to you, and come to one of our libraries, hang out with your community in our shared space. Also, as the new library project kicks off, think about what you want to see in your downtown library. Now is a time for collective dreaming. Our downtown library belongs to all of us, and so your voice and your opinion matters. And finally, if you want to learn more about our campaign, you can go to aadl2026.com. We also have stickers and bookmarks over there. Feel free to grab some. My name is Gaurav, running for library board. I hope in November that you vote for Cassie, Rachel, and myself. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, you guys. 3 minutes each. You were just like masterful. Really great. All right. I am calling up the next panel, our panel of candidates for Ypsi Mayor and City Council. You can see your names right here. Please come on up and take your place. We have a little more time than scheduled. Where is everybody? Oh, hey, how are you doing, Bryan? Good to see you. Everybody come on up and take your place. Thanks for being here. Kathy Wyatt is our moderator for this. And I'm handing the mic over to Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming. As soon as you're seated, we'll get started.
If that projector bothers you, say something and I'll turn it off. Once you're seated.
Hello?
Yeah.
So welcome again to all the candidates running for Ypsi City Mayor and for Ypsi City Council. We have a limited amount of time, so we're going to keep this pretty tight. I know some of you who I love talk a little more than others, but you're going to have to kind of control it or I will call you out. With love. We will start with each of you doing an opening statement, and you'll have 2 minutes. And we will start with Madam Mayor, Nicole Brown.
Project across the internet.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Nicole Brown. I have the honor of currently serving as the mayor of Ypsilanti since 2022. My journey in Ypsi really began as a 16-year-old in this community, going into city council meetings with my parents, but also because of a group called Ypsilanti Youth Empowered to Act over on Eastern's campus, where I learned about civic engagement and what it really means to be an active member of your community as I was coming into adulthood. From there, I actually began to run that program and work to do community youth mapping with young folks to map safe places and safe spaces for young folks in Ypsilanti. My background is in social work. I'm a clinical mental health therapist and attended Eastern Michigan University for both my bachelor's and master's. From there, I got my first job at Ozone House at the drop-in center, which is right behind this parking structure, where I was the outreach coordinator and did similar work with young people in the community and brought them to city council meetings to report out on what they found was missing and what the needs were in the community. And after that, a sitting council member who was moving out of the district actually asked me if I'd be interested in running for city council. That was never on my bingo card. I never had any thought of being in public office, but the work that I was doing in community really led to others looking at me and saying, hey, I think you can do this. And so in 2014, I was the youngest person ever elected to our city council. And I think I still hold that title to this day. Fast forward a few years later, in my second term as council member, it was time to decide if I were going to step away and give space for someone else to have a voice at the table as a council member and seek higher office. And so I decided to run for mayor in 2022 and was successful because I care deeply about this community. I spent most of my life in this community. I care about my neighbors. I care about each one of you and what our future is supposed to look like. And I think that the work that we have done together as a council over the many iterations that I have worked with keeps me poised to continue serving this community in a meaningful and impactful way going forward into the future. And so I'm excited about the conversation and look forward to sharing, my answers. Thank you.
That was exactly 2 minutes. That's amazing. Our next person is Ypsi City Council person, Amber Fellows.
Check. Oh.
And away you go.
Good morning, Ypsilantians and guests. I'm Council Member Amber Fellows. I am your current representative for Ward 3, which is the east side of the city. And I'm running for mayor in the August primary of this year, Democratic primary. I'm a proud multi-decade resident. I'm 43 years old. I'm a 2013 AMU alum, first generation Japanese American, queer, musician, community organizer, and a Huron Valley Democratic Socialist. And I am proud of all of those things. And I am maybe known for defeating an appointed incumbent by 10 votes in August of 2024. I'm running for mayor because I want an Ypsilanti city that works with and for the people, not against it. Alongside my colleagues, I want to draw down power, expand community participation, fight the landlord monopolies, and keep public land in public hands, and build a future where our resources support social housing, healthcare, education, renewable energy, not wars, ICE, genocide, or fossil fuel subsidies. Ypsilanti has long been a diverse, working class safe haven, a stop on the Underground Railroad, a beacon for artists, students, Black neighborhoods, Indigenous people, immigrants, queer families, and everybody in between. I'm running to grow that legacy of multicultural sanctuary where everyone here belongs. Thank you.
So our next person is Bryan Foley. And go ahead. And you've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Right. My name is Bryan Foley, and I'm running for City Council representative of the First Ward. I'm a lifelong City of Ypsilanti resident. I'm a lifelong resident of the Ainsworth Circle community. I just recently bought my home there last year. So I'm right here from Ypsilanti. I'm a little tired and out of breath right now because I've been down at Park Ridge Park cleaning up the softball diamond, preparing it for this year's season. Assisting the city is what I've been doing. How I got engaged in this is that the Park Ridge Summerfest Committee needed electricity down at Park Ridge Park for the events that they're having, and there was not any electricity where anybody could plug in. So the city of Ypsilanti contacted me, and I donated my labor and material to put power down there. And that's how you see all the events that are taken through that. But nevertheless, through that, working with the city of Ypsilanti as an electrician, electrical contractor, I got to meeting a lot of people and got to seeing what was going on in the city, hearing all the voices from the DPW to the finance, to the treasurer, to the clerk, to the city manager, and to the mayor. And through that, former mayor Amanda Edmonds asked me to become a member of the Sustainability Commission, which I sit right now. And through that commission, I began to learn a lot of environmental factors, a lot of social factors that are affecting our city. I sit right now as a Sustainability Commission. I sit as a Downtown Development Authority Commissioner. Right now, I'm a Washtenaw County Public Health and Safety Commissioner. I'm a former CBO Commissioner and a former Bicentennial Commissioner. So I'm well rooted in the city of Ypsilanti. I had to kind of know what's going on, and I know who's here to do what and to help. And I just want to lend my assistance in from the county commissioner level to help our city grow and be the city that it is.
And next up is Michelle King, who is a current city council person.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for coming today. As Kathy Wyatt said, I am a current city council member serving the city of Ypsilanti, Ward 1. I am also a lifelong resident of the city of Ypsilanti. My family has roots here in the city of Ypsilanti. I'm running to be reelected because I'm somebody you can trust, because I believe in the community. And being a lifelong resident, I have heard many stories of what Ypsilanti used to be. I am a council member that wants to revive and bring that back to the city of Ypsilanti, all the fun, all the family ties, and just being rooted in the community. I am confident we can work together to revive the city of Ypsilanti. I believe Ypsilanti deserves a council person that listens, shows up, and works hard, and a person that puts the residents first. My campaign is about the community, making sure residents have a voice and that we are working together to solve the issues in the city of Ypsilanti. I am also a mother of 5. Most of my children work here in the community right here in Ward 1. Again, I was born and raised here. I'm committed to the community. I'm somebody you can trust. I am somebody that's out here in the community on a daily basis. I show up. When you call me, I answer, and I'm here to serve the community of Ypsilanti, a community that I love.
And Patrick McLean, also a current city council person. Thank you.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. I started working in Ypsilanti about 22 years ago when I first arrived. Had met someone wonderful, and I'm now married to her, and we've raised our family here for the last 2 decades. And one of the first things I got involved with was Rutherford Pool, which I thought was an amazing experience because it showed me just how resourceful, how dedicated, how community-minded the people in Ypsilanti were. And people kept telling us, it was $1 million project, you're not gonna be able to redo that pool. And as you know, we redid that pool and made it a very inclusive space, and still proud of that work. But that really woke me up to what was possible. A little bit of background on me. I spent about 30 years in state and local governments in Michigan and Ohio, and particularly relevant 4 years as finance director for the city of Toledo, and about a decade working as a member of the caucus for the Senate Democrats, also in Ohio, including 3 years as chief of staff there. I have significant experience, but I think I also have the heart to care about this community. Michelle talked about showing up. I try to do that as well. I hold coffee hours, as many of you may know, coffee hours just about every Sunday for an hour and a half at local coffee shop. I like to listen and hear what's going on around the community and try to solve problems where I can. I'm really proud of the connections that I've made and the endorsements that I have as well. That includes Senator Jeff Irwin, Commissioner Ann Somerville, Mayor Nicole Brown, former Mayor Paul Schreiber, and State Representative Jimmy Wilson. So pleased to be here. I love this community. I'd love to continue serving. Thank you.
Last but not least is Amy Rondel.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming. I'm Amy Rondel. I'm currently sitting on the city's Human Relations Commission and also the HRC rep for the newly created Tenants' Rights Committee. I'm running for city council because I believe local government has a responsibility to be a good steward of the things we all share. When I think of Ypsi, I think of our neighborhoods, our public spaces, our institutions and natural resources that make Ypsi such a special place to live. These things are our shared inheritance, and we have a responsibility of care to leave them stronger than we found them. It's this lens of stewardship that shapes how I see every issue facing the city. We should be creating more and new types of housing so people can afford to build a life here. We need to maintain our infrastructure before they become crises. See our public land as a community asset and invest in transport that connects people to resources and opportunities. And build our public capacity to deliver high quality services that meet residents' needs and that people can trust. My vision of the city is one that's resilient, connected, where people have a meaningful voice in shaping decisions, and where we're actively building a stronger future. Is that perspective that I'll bring to City Council, and I'd be honored to earn your support. Thank you.
Excuse me. So I'm going to ask the next question. We're going to ask questions of all of you, and we'll start from the other end to be fair. And what it's going to be short because we have limited time. So I would like all of you, and you were sent the questions in advance, to list the top 3 things that you have done to make the lives of Ypsi City residents better. Okay. Amy?
How much time do they have?
Oh, I apologize. We can give you 2 minutes on this.
Okay, very good. When I think of my contributions, I'm proud to have helped directly and systemically. I lead the Gender Variant Alliance, which provides grants to marginalized people in crisis. Helping folks facing unexpected emergencies that destabilize their whole lives has reinforced for me the importance of having support when people need it most. I also work with independent shelter and housing efforts that help people arriving in our community to find stability and safety here when they've been facing dangerous and unstable situations. Having a safe place to live is the first step to rebuilding a life. This experience has given me an understanding of the challenges that people face, but also the importance of having strong community support systems. I've also worked at the state level advocating for legislation to reduce bureaucratic burdens on residents. People too often struggle to navigate opaque and complicated systems. And I'm grateful to be a part of these efforts to remove barriers and make government more accessible to people. The common thread here is my belief that communities work best when people have stability, support, and institutions designed to help them succeed, not create additional obstacles. Thank you.
Patrick?
Thank you. I'm going to talk about something that I told council I enjoyed doing when I took the job and got appointed a few years ago, and that's budgeting. And I think they, like most people, kind of roll their eyes. But what I would argue is that budgeting, especially for a legacy city like Ypsilanti, and so many other cities in our area, budgeting is foundational, right? There's a lot of good things that people have talked about here on this panel, people have talked about on other panels, and they only work if your budget is stable. And so one of the things that I have worked tirelessly at while I've been on council is to stabilize our budget. I'm very proud that we have been able to establish a budget stabilization fund, meant in case of rainy day, proverbial rainy day or economic downturn, that will allow us to keep operations going. And that means keeping jobs going, keeping union jobs going as well. We have now over $3.4 million in that rainy day fund, which is not insignificant at all. And I want to give council credit for that as well. I would also say that I'm very proud of our recent budget that balanced, that reduced some of the structural deficit, not all of it, but a real step in the right direction. And it included something I'm proud of and I've worked for, and that's a forestry program. We have anybody that's been in Normal Park or lives in Normal Park knows it's a tremendous neighborhood, but so is the rest of the city. We've got great trees, old trees, and slowly they, like all of us, have a lifespan, and we've been losing them and we have not been managing them. So more to come on that, but I'm really proud to think about that as a real asset for the community and to actively manage, replace, and provide technical assistance to the community. And finally, I'm also proud of being part of the group. Again, council came forward with this to fight ICE. ICE is one of the most challenging things that we're facing right now, especially because it's hard to know what to do. But we have made it clear that Ypsilanti facilities will not be used for staging areas. Ypsilanti facilities will not be used to allow ICE to come in and do things that are extra constitutional or flat out unconstitutional. They are not a law enforcement agency in my book at all. And you've seen some of the things that they've done in Minneapolis and here and other places around the country. And we've got to keep that fight going.
Thank you. Councilwoman King.
So a few things that I'm proud of. I will start with one, a partnership that I myself forged with Michigan Works, the Summer Works program, and the city of Ypsilanti. Michigan Works, they were right here in our backyard, right here on Harriet Street, and we never had a partnership with them. When I got on council, I noticed Washtenaw County had partnerships. The city of Ann Arbor had partnerships, but the city of Ypsilanti never did. I'm proud to say today that I made those connections, and we now have Summer Works interns working for the city of Ypsilanti in the clerk office. That's one thing. The other thing I would say that is huge for me is I pushed on council for a retreat so we could work better together. I think that is important because when we all have similar goals, which they may not all be exactly the same, but when they are similar and we learn how to work together, we can execute those better. And with communication as well, another thing that I am extremely proud of is I know more people come to the meeting, even if it's virtual, because I am sitting in that space and because every time we meet, I send those notifications out on Facebook, on every social media that I have, and I also send text messages out and notify people word of mouth. Another thing is RX Kids. That's putting money back in families. That's something we passed together as a council to support pregnant mothers during the pregnancy and beyond for the first year of the child's birth. Thank you.
And Bryan Foley.
Yeah. Few of things that I've done. One thing before getting engaged at Park Ridge Park, I'm gonna start right there. The park was completely overgrown with weeds. What we did was we were able to secure a $10,000 grant, and we got new aggregate down for the softball diamond, so our community and our children can come out and have a safe place to play. The other thing that we did, we removed all the weeds from out of the basketball court. And then we got another $50,000 from the city to have a completely brand new basketball court place so our children can come and play in. Before that, the park and the basketball court was filled with trash, broken glass everywhere. And it was no place safe for our seniors and our children to come out and enjoy in the inside of their community. The other thing, just recently, we had secured some more money where the uneven concrete, where people couldn't come out and have picnics without tripping over the concrete that was down there. We were instrumental in doing that. Those are the things that I did right there. Also, I'm engaged all the time, daily, downtown Ypsilanti at the bus station, North Washington or South Washington, assisting those who have substance abuse issues or mental health issues get to the proper resources that they can get the help that they need in this community. There's a lot of resources that are available in this community, but unfortunately, for some reason, they're not trickling down to the actual residents of the community and the citizens of this community. So I'm engaged in that on a daily basis. I'm also a person that is always contacted when there's violence that's going on, or potential violence that's going on, that we can get in there and interact and prevent someone from getting harmed or life being taken. I don't want to brag on this, but the fact of the matter is that we've been engaging and preventing the deaths of many people around the city.
Amber Fellows.
So some people know me as like a firebrand, and maybe some things that I've heard is that I might not be able to build consensus, but it's actually one of my secret skills to build big coalitions of people. And so in less than 2 years in office, I've been busy. And some of the things I'm proud of is we've redirected 1.6 million of the public safety and mental health millage to public infrastructure and services. One of the things, the big portion of that is $1 million is going to go towards building a unarmed crisis response team, a community responder team, which will be one of the first of its kind in Michigan and in the Midwest. I'm really excited about working on that together in the community and on council. We also redirected $300,000 to a future high quality public restrooms in Park Ridge Park, Riverside Park, and Prospect Park. So that will be coming soon. People have been demanding this for years. We also put $100,000 reoccurring in our housing trust fund to support winter sheltering, both daytime and nighttime, 24/7. I have led Ypsi to join Mayors for Peace, which calls for the total abolition of nuclear weapons, impose a 1-year data center moratorium, which was the longest moratorium in the state. And we also legislated into existence both the Water Street Citizens and the Tenants' Rights Committees. But my proudest contribution so far is actually before I was on council. If you haven't heard of it before, Dorsey Estates is 23 affordable for sale homes and 23 market rate homes. And as chair of the Community Benefits Agreement Committee, I was the chief negotiator in striking a historic housing deal with Dorsey Estates, which made it so that their original proposal was for people making $125,000, $150,000 in the county to afford a home. Now it was drawn down to someone that makes about $34,000 a year to own homes in the community. And there are several municipal workers that live there, essential workers, frontline workers, and they were all renters before, first-time homeowners. I've contributed to transit. We want to do a D2A2 stop in the city. And I am working to get that connection here through a survey. And I think I will end it there. Thank you so much.
Mayor Brown?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Well, I'll start by saying I'm really proud of many of the things I've already heard with my colleagues. I've been on city council to see most of those things from start to finish. We've brought on over 350 units of housing since I've been on council, with the Avalon Permanent Supportive Housing Project almost at completion. One thing that I'm absolutely proud of is the way that I am able to build relationships. The city has probably the strongest relationship with EMU that it's had in the last decade, due to my collaboration and working alongside the administration, including being a member of the search committee for its new president, Dr. Kelly. It's resulted in more resources for Ypsilanti and future partnerships that we are currently in discussion around how do we make sure that the town and gown relationship continues to flourish. I also have built strong relationships with our local, county, and federal partners, again, bringing resources and drawing dollars down for many of the projects that we've heard about from my colleagues today, including housing, including our infrastructure for our local roads and bridges, et cetera, et cetera. Relationships really matter. I make decisions with care and collaboration, knowing that we may not always agree, but we're going to do the best thing for the most people. And so I think that that is the reason why we've been able to move so many projects forward in such a short amount of time. And lastly, Councilmember King named this, but I really feel very grateful and proud of the RX Kids program. It is one that I brought back to the city and then worked with staff to frame the infrastructure and go out and seek the dollars to make that program real. We know how it impacts moms and families, and so it helps with, economic equity as well as economic development and health equity. In the perinatal stage, we know that Black mothers particularly are disproportionately impacted negatively economically right before and after giving birth. And so this cash prescription has literally changed the lives of mothers, families, and children in Ypsilanti for time to come. And I'm hopeful that we can continue this program. And speaking about families, the last thing I'll say is that one of the things that I did in my second term on council is work alongside and really push for us to begin the mini grants process for young people who work in nonprofits in our community. Again, pouring into our young folks and getting them civically engaged early and knowing that their community and their neighbors care about them is what's going to prolong our future and our sustainability. And so I'm really grateful for the work I've been able to do in collaboration with my neighbors and young folks to move Ypsilanti forward.
Thank you all for the great work you have been doing for the residents of Ypsi City. The next question and you've been doing just wonderfully keeping it on target. The next question is, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the city of Ypsi? And we will start with number 2, Patrick.
How long do we have?
You have, we're adding a little time since we had somebody not be able to attend on the longer panel. So you can have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to talk a little bit about short-term and long-term challenges. So some of these have already been talked about, but housing in so many ways is a challenge for us, but is a challenge for the broader community. Everything from those who are unhoused specifically themselves and all the challenges that they face, not just in the housing area, but certainly including in the housing, affordability challenge, and simply the stock of housing. We don't have enough, and we're landlocked, and there are limited ways to do that. But I do think there's some ways to look at infill in ways that we haven't done before. And then, of course, there's discussion about Water Street. We're always going to have, and so that's a long-term challenge. So we're always going to have financial challenges. It's simply the nature of our tax base, and so monitoring that on an ongoing basis is going to be paramount importance. Something I haven't heard talked a lot about, but the vibrancy of the business community, especially the small businesses, family-owned businesses. Those businesses, in many cases, represent the dreams of people trying to make it. And to my mind, we as a city, I don't know if I want to go so far as to say we do a terrible job, but we do a poor job of really monitoring those businesses and helping them, because they are the tax base, right? If they do well, then our tax base does better. And we have more people in the downtown. The downtown is more vibrant. The downtown is safer. There's all kinds of knock-on advantages to taking care of that business. And finally, I have to mention 2 ballot issues that stand as currently constituted, stand to be on the ballot in Ypsilanti in November. These are both serious threats to the community. The first one is in my mind a direct assault on this party, the Democratic Party of Washtenaw County. It will end partisan primaries. It will end primaries completely. It will result in it was similar to the one that was on the ballot, I believe, in Ann Arbor last year. That was defeated 70-30, and I hope the same thing will happen here. The other one is a major financial challenge to the solvency and long-term fiscal stability of Ypsilanti, which requires that in the event of the police budget being increased by any amount, even $1, in any given year, that suddenly we have to stop the trains and take that to the ballot. That doesn't work. We do the physical way of making a budget, which needed to be sent to the state, I think, tomorrow. We just finished our work there. If we had to stop this if this were to pass, and we were to say, no, we can't send it forward because it has an increase of $1 in the police budget, we'd have to have it go to the ballot in November. And what do we do until then? I have no idea, but we don't have a finished budget. And if we don't have a finished budget, we have to go into fiscal emergency, which was a disaster.
We do have to remember to keep moving as quickly as we can. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have to take it down to 1 minute each. I apologize. We're trying to balance everybody in.
So I think housing is our #1 challenge. I say that because a few weeks ago, I met with a group of homeowners in the city of Ypsilanti concerning the unhoused population. We know that we do not have enough housing that fits the community members, residents here in the city of Ypsilanti. We need a shelter, and we need to make sure we are also respecting homeowners. So I think that the last piece of property that we do have, We need to focus that. We need a grocery store. We also need mixed housing on that property. So that is something that I am advocating for. Our number one challenge here in the city of Ypsilanti right now is housing, and I am committed to bringing more housing to the city of Ypsilanti.
Thank you so much. If we can keep it down to the 1 minute and just lay out what you think the challenges are.
The motto of Ypsilanti is pride, diversity, and heritage. And a lot of citizens and residents of the city of Ypsilanti are getting second-class treatment. So a lot of people come to our city and they receive the help and assistance that we offer, but at the expense of those who have been here their entire lives and who have invested in this city. And with some of them are put in second class. So safety is a high priority. Also, our downtown area, right? It needs to be safe, it needs to be vibrant, and it needs to be able to attract people and small businesses to our community. When you look out, when you come into the city of Ypsilanti from I-94 and Huron Street, the first thing you see is this big monstrosity that's been sitting up there for years. So we need to make our city attractive for people who want to come here. I mean, just imagine if you were bringing your child here to come to Eastern Michigan University and you were drive through the downtown area coming off of there, what would you see? So we need to make our city safe and viable for small business as well as residents and anybody wanting to simply come to our city.
Thank you, Bryan. Amber?
Yes, we are dealing with significant challenges in Ypsilanti, but I do see them as from the federal level all the way down. So ICE and police brutality is a major issue for us. Since 2025, we've had over 15 abductions by ICE in and around the city. We've also had our local enforcement descend, like a total police siege on Cross Street for days. For a neighbor that was experiencing a mental health crisis. That is a challenge I am very dedicated to fighting, both ICE and the police brutality. And Los Alamos Data Center, U of M Data Center, that is another big problem in our community. It's going to take all of us working together to stop it. These are the feds. And this is a part of a plan of rising fascism in America, which means we have to fight the fascist infrastructure too, which is these data centers, okay? Lastly, the homelessness issue, rising homelessness, and that is coupled with racial harm. We need reparations for legacy residents impacted by generations of divestment and discrimination, both in building housing and addressing the racial harm with reparations. Thank you.
Mayor Brown.
Thank you. So I guess aside from, the Trump 2.0 administration right now, the three challenges I see are absolutely cost of living. So the high cost of housing due to our high property taxes, as well as rent increases, direct negative impact to our residents. And so we tackle that by building more housing, similar to like Dorsey Estate. So we have mixed income and market rates. We build more housing, but still face challenges with the housing access because there's not enough stock. And so it's why I'm even more excited about the Avalon project. And then the second would be infrastructure. We're not prepared for the current climate challenges. And so we have to figure out what we do about the increases in rain and invest in infrastructure and pull down federal dollars and dollars where we can find them. And lastly, a concern is strong neighborhoods in our downtown districts. We want folks to be able to have a good quality of life and also feel safe and be able to thrive in Ypsilanti. And so a couple of things that are already in the works on top of the LEAF, consulting around the community responder program is also, I've been working directly with staff and our county to increase YPD's connection to our CMH crisis team that's already in place in the interim until we figure out what that program will look like. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. And the last person is Amy. We need to keep it as quickly as you can, but be respect you. I know he just hasn't had a chance. Oh, just quick 2 words and then
very good.
Thank you so much.
When I think about the biggest challenges our city faces, 3 definitely rise to the top of the list. The first, unsurprisingly, is affordability. More and more people find it difficult to build and maintain stable lives here in the community. Whether you rent or own, rising costs are making it harder to stay in Ypsilanti. Expanding our housing options, supporting residents facing financial pressures, and ensuring that people make the city what it is, continue to be able to call it home. We need to plan and maintain these systems for the long term, which leads me to the last thing, is preparing for the future. Climate change, economic shifts, and changing community needs will be placing new demands on the city. We need to be thinking ahead, building resilience, and making investments now that save money later and strengthen our community.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you. Thank you to this wonderful panel and with thoughtful, informed answers.
They did not have what I needed.
Oh no. Okay. Wait, do you want to try?
We can go back to Play-Doh's.
Okay.
Because they're done.
Oh, great. Wow, they were pretty quick.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yousef, are you here?
Come on, draw it to attention.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ypsilanti candidates, for coming in. Many of the challenges facing Ypsi are the same that Ann Arbor is facing, as I think we're going to hear today. This panel is going to work slightly differently. Because there's 6 wards in Ann Arbor, we're going to go ward by ward, just so people have an easier time understanding who their potential elected representatives are later down the line. First up, we're going to have the mayoral race. And each person will have 2 minutes to do an introduction across the board, and then we're going to have audience questions for roughly 4 minutes, probably a bit less because we're a bit behind. So I'll just hand it over, and you have 2 minutes to introduce yourselves.
Thanks so much. So I'm Christopher Taylor. I'm the mayor of the city of Ann Arbor. I've been mayor since 2014. And fundamentally, the job as mayor in the city of Ann Arbor is to improve core services and to enhance quality of life. Improve core services and enhance quality of life. The city is a service delivery organization: clean water, dirty water, stormwater, police, fire, parks, roads, recycling, solid waste,
composting, and of course, free and fair elections. And we're working hard to deliver that 24 hours a day, 367. It is a service delivery organization, and that's the focus. We obviously do this within the context of budgeting. Our budget is outstanding. We've got a AAA rating. Our budget is balanced. Our recurring revenues match our recurring expenses. Things are okay in the city of Ann Arbor. Finally, of course, quality of life. A number of different metrics here, but first, of course, in 2 minutes, I'm going to hit affordability. We've got an affordability crisis in the city of Ann Arbor. And in the city of Ann Arbor, our affordability crisis is a housing crisis. And we hit this on 3 measures. 1, incredibly historic investments in actual affordable housing. Over the first 200 years in Ann Arbor history, we built around 600 units of housing. Over the next 5, thanks to initiatives that I championed, we're going to build 1,200 units of new permanent affordable housing throughout the city. We're also protecting renters. Over half of Ann Arbor rents. Working hard to make sure that we're equalizing as best we can the relationship between tenants and landlords. We're eliminating junk fees. We've eliminated junk fees. We're ensuring cost transparency. And if you love Ann Arbor, you've got a right to renew your lease. Finally, we know that affordable housing, not everyone qualifies, not everybody rents. We know that we have a housing crisis on all other measures. And so we passed a comprehensive land use plan, which has a vision for a yes and housing solution. Duplexes, triplexes throughout the city, materially more housing on transit corridors, and a fair bit more housing in hubs. This is the way that other cities have improved their housing affordability, and this is how we're going to do that in the city of Ann Arbor. Thanks a lot.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Yousef. Hey. My name is Yousef Rabhi. I'm happy to be here today, and I'm happy to be a candidate for mayor of Ann Arbor. This is exciting to see so many folks out. Many of you know me already, but for those of you that don't, I've been an elected official in Ann Arbor for 16 years, been a county commissioner for 9, state representative for 6. 4 of those years, I was the Democratic floor leader in the Michigan House of Representatives, and proud to work across Michigan to get Democrats elected up and down the ballot. I'm running for mayor now, and one of the things that really inspired me to run is that Ann Arbor actually has become completely unaffordable. Ann Arbor is what I'm calling a country club town that you have to almost buy a membership to come and live here. The working class people that make our town run, the working class people that are working in our kitchens, that are our teachers, that are our nurses, they can't afford to live in Ann Arbor. And that problem has gotten worse year after year after year after year to the point where it is now, where it has become completely unaffordable. We need to solve this on many fronts. One of those fronts is housing, which is why I'm pushing for historic investments in publicly owned, permanently affordable housing. What we're doing now is not good enough. We need more housing for the working class in our community. What I'm pushing for is expansion of the Ann Arbor Housing Commission, housing cooperatives that are publicly owned and permanently affordable, and a public land trust that will allow for people to buy homes and create equity in those homes. I'm also concerned about the amount of public dollars that are going to private entities. $350 million tax break for a private developer is not acceptable. There's always money in the banana stand for the rich and wealthy, but there's not money to house those that are working class. We need public funds to be used for public services. We need public jobs to be done by public workers. We need public land to be for public purposes, not private profits. Thank you.
Perfect. Can we get a mic to be ran around the room for questions? And I will just start it off just with audience questions right away. If anyone has one for the mayoral candidates, right here, we got our library board trustee candidate has a question. And there's going to be 4 minutes total for the question period. So if you want more questions, keep your answers brief and you'll get more questions. Perfect.
This year, one of the big things that'll go to the next mayor is a rewrite of our zoning. I just wanted to hear whether you would, as mayor, pass a zoning rewrite that matches sort of what came out in the comprehensive land use plan.
And just for the people on Zoom, the question was, what will you do about the comprehensive land use plan, essentially, and the zoning in that?
Yes, the comprehensive land use plan is a vision that will improve affordability in the city. In the real world, it'll improve equity in the city, in the real world, and improve sustainability in the city, in the real world. It'll do that without raising. Sorry. It'll do that. So as I was saying, it will do all those things in a way that is consistent with livability. It's going to help people who live here in the here and now. It's going to help people who work in Ann Arbor who can't afford to live in Ann Arbor. The reason people who work in Ann Arbor can't afford to live in Ann Arbor is because we have a housing supply problem. We're going to meet that with within our current means with incredibly impactful, expanded, affordable housing. We are also, like all other cities in the world, need to rely upon the private market in order to build housing elsewhere. We're going to allow more housing downtown, more housing on transit corridors, and more housing in established neighborhoods in ways that fits. This will enable people to build more housing at different income levels and will enable people who work in Ann Arbor, they'll be able to live in Ann Arbor. We'll improve our sustainability because we're improving our density. We're making sure that people are going to be entitled to live on transit corridors so that they can get in and out of the city without a car, if they choose, bicycle, mass transit. We're also working hard to ensure that this is an equity project. You know, we have one of the most economically segregated counties in the country. That's because of the legacy of and the existence of white supremacy as a cultural force, but crucially in our housing market. The work with the comprehensive land use plan is specifically designed to counteract that in a way that is real and achievable.
Ask a quick question. How much time do we have to respond to each question?
It's 4 minutes total.
Okay.
So,
well,
you have 3 more minutes.
Sweet. I want to say a few things at first. One is acknowledging that zoning has a long and deep history of racism in our country. And I want to make sure to say that right off the bat, because it's important that we keep that in mind in every decision that we're making moving forward. The second thing I want to say is that housing is a human right. It should not be a commodity that's bought and traded. It is something that is a human right that everybody deserves. And so when we think about housing as a human right, when we think about the fact that there are 850 people that are experiencing homelessness right now in our community, that means we are violating the human rights of 850 people today in our community. And when we think about it in those terms, we engage different parts of our society in solving that problem. When it comes to planning and zoning, we absolutely need to make Ann Arbor more dense. We absolutely need to, in what I'm calling democratize density, give people in our community the tools to add more residents so that more people can live in our community. We need to actually make it so that more commercial enterprises can happen across our community in different areas. I believe in mixed use. I believe that we don't want urban sprawl. We don't want to keep pushing people out to the peripheries. And I have fought against highway expansions, fought against the US 23 highway expansion, the I-94 highway expansion, the I-75 highway expansion, because I believe that cities are the solution and that we need to double down on that. I also do not believe in trickle-down housing. I don't believe in trickle-down housing. I believe in building grassroots solutions that will empower our community to build density and housing options for our neighbors. And yes, that does involve, elements of the private market. I am not trying to get in the way of private investors, but one thing that we have to remember is that developers are building housing to make money, not to house people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, mayoral candidates. Unfortunately, or fortunately, you spent 4 minutes talking about housing costs. So we will now, we'll now move to the Ward 1 candidates for Ann Arbor. If you guys would come forward. And actually, if you're the candidates for Ward 2, if you guys would like to come up and just stand on standby for when you guys come up too, that'd be good. But Ward 1 first.
Name tag. Janet.
Okay. Yes, yes, perfect. Is Rebecca Arends here in the room today? Rebecca Arends? Okay. Thank you all. It looks like Cynthia's here by herself today. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
Okay. Well, Cynthia, thank you for coming out today. Rebecca Arends could not make it, unfortunately, this morning. And so you're all by yourself. Okay, so you'll have you'll have 2 minutes to introduce yourself to the audience. And then because it's just you here, we're gonna only have 2 minutes for questions, just because you're by yourself. So there we go.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is, or afternoon time, whatever time it is. My name is Cynthia Harrison, and I am the Ward 1 City Council member, the incumbent that is running for re-election. I am a lifelong Ann Arbor resident, born and raised. Fun fact, I was actually born in Ward 1 over at St. Joe's, which is located at U of M. I talk about being a lifelong resident because there's context behind it. As a Black woman, Black people represent a very small percent in the city of Ann Arbor. I would say probably less than 5%. And so it's one of the reasons that I ran for city council. I grew up in a union household. My mother was the first Ann Arbor Black nurse to work for Ann Arbor Public Schools. And so she retired from Ann Arbor Public Schools, and my father retired from Ford Motor Company. So raised in a union household. I am a mother, and that's really the first hat that I wear. I am a mother of young men that were very severely impacted by our criminal legal system. And, my youngest suffers from mental health challenges and really has had a bad experience growing up in the city. His brown body has had, not a great experience growing up in the city of Ann Arbor. So it's the reason that I sit here right now and the reason that I do the work that I do. But so thank you for having me.
Yeah, our Zoom system's a bit messed up today. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna start off with a question for you, Cynthia, actually, and then we'll pass it over to the audience for one. My question for you is, what is your vision for other alternative means of transportation in the city of Ann Arbor, such as our bikes, buses, maybe trains, who knows? And can you share your thoughts on that?
I am a supporter of multimodal transportation. My idea for other means of transportation really is, for one, to utilize the transportation that we have, but for it to be more impactful, and that's the AAATA, which when I was younger, and I am an avid bus rider, and when I was younger, I took AATA, but my friend and I would hide from the bus, and we would walk to school instead of taking the school bus. But I do ride the bus now, and I just think, we did pass the millage to increase, the transportation within the city of Ann Arbor. Longer term, I do see I would like to see more rail services going through, more rail services, and partnering better with MDOT to make our roads more accessible for transportation. We're heading in that direction, but we're not there yet. Obviously, also when we have bike, in terms of walkability, we need our sidewalks to be combined and continued and repaired, because we need to be a more walkable city. So that's something that I've been working for and fighting for since taking my seat, and will continue to do that. Also for cyclists, we need better protections for cyclists so that, they can also get around better within the city of Ann Arbor.
Okay, and it looks like we have time for one question from the audience, if anyone has one. Looks like we just have one.
Hi, thank you. This is for you, the council and the mayor. What are we doing to keep U of M from buying all the taxable land in Ann Arbor? And the rest of us who own homes in Ann Arbor have to pay more taxes. And all those developers who are coming in and building these sky high risers in Ann Arbor, 30 floors up. We're becoming Little Manhattan in Ann Arbor now.
All right, so I'll start with U of M. Just a couple of weeks ago, City Council passed a resolution to try and keep U of M from purchasing the land in Concordia that Concordia sits on, because we believe that U of M is taking things off of our tax rolls. The more land that they buy up, they're taking from our tax rolls. So, in terms of development, I support more housing within the city of Ann Arbor. We have 90,000 people currently driving in and out of the city of Ann Arbor. We have individuals that work within the city of Ann Arbor that can't live in Ann Arbor. So, taller buildings may be more appropriate within the city, within downtown, and they may not be as appropriate in other areas. So I believe in gentle density. But with the passing of the comprehensive land use plan, we, did that basically to restructure our zoning laws, which exclusionary zoning, the history of exclusionary zoning is basically to keep people like me out of neighborhoods. So people that look like me and Black people in general, that's the history of exclusionary zoning. So with the passing of the comprehensive land use plan, we will get rid of that. And, I support, like I said, I think you asked about tall buildings. They may be more appropriate downtown and may not be as appropriate in other areas of the city, but we will continue to, promote the additional housing so that we have more market rate housing, more workforce housing, deeply affordable housing, and low income housing. So, so I promote more housing within the city of Ann Arbor. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming out and speaking today. Okay, so can we have our candidates please for Ward 2 to come up to now? I think Sandy is the only person who can make it in person. However, we have a written statement from Tisha that the chair, Teresa, is going to read for her. And I will just give it to Teresa first for the written statement, and then Sandy will go if all following the same format.
Hi, everybody. I'm not Tisha Montague. Tisha is actually running the African American Festival in downtown Ann Arbor today. So she is like incredibly busy, been there. So in fact, when you guys leave here, go there. Okay, so this is from Tisha. Good morning and thank you to the Washtenaw County Democratic Party, the organizers, and everyone who took time to be here today. That's you guys. My name is Tisha Montague, and I am running for Ann Arbor City Council in Ward 2 because I believe our city works best when it listens to the people who call it home. My campaign is centered on the people and rooted in a simple belief. Government should be responsive, transparent, and accountable to the residents it serves. As I've talked with residents throughout Ward 2, I have heard concerns about affordability, displacement, aging infrastructure, public trust, public safety, and the future of our neighborhoods. People want leaders who listen before they decide, who show up before there's a crisis, and who understand the real-world impact of policy decisions on everyday families. They want government that works with residents, not around them. I believe Ann Arbor can move forward in a way that creates true affordable housing opportunities, strengthens our infrastructure, supports sustainability, and protects the neighborhoods and parklands that make our city special. We need development that is responsible, equitable, and grounded in the needs of the community. My campaign is rooted in practical experience. As a community service officer, I see firsthand the challenges residents face involving housing insecurity, mental health concerns, public safety, economic hardship, and access to resources. That work has strengthened my belief that city government must be more responsive, compassionate, and community-centered. Through my housing advocacy work, including serving on the Community Leadership Council that helped bring the Dunbar Tower affordable housing development to life, I have worked to expand opportunity and ensure more residents have a place to call home. Service is in my DNA. I have spent my life connecting people with resources, strengthening neighborhoods, and expanding opportunity and ensuring residents have a voice in the decisions that affect their lives. I believe leadership is about listening, showing up, and doing the work, even when no one is watching. Too often, people feel like decisions are made about them instead of with them. I want to help change that. This campaign is about building a future where Ann Arbor remains a place where people can afford to live, raise a family, start a business, and age with dignity. It is about restoring trust between city government and the community and ensuring every resident feels heard, respected, and represented. While I regret that I am unable to be with you this morning, I hope you will consider my record of service, collaboration, and commitment to this community. I would be honored to earn your support, your endorsement, and your vote for Ann Arbor City Council Ward 2. Thank you, Tisha McDonald.
Yes, and thank you, Teresa. And since you're not Tisha, I'll give you a pass on going a minute over. Yeah. Tisha Montague. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Okay, Sandy, you have 2 minutes as well. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Well, I've been hearing a lot of really great things of why people
Can you
are
please
really-
just can you hold the mic closer to your mouth? No problem.
So I'm Sandy Aldrich, and I really appreciate you listening to me like this. So gross though to do this. I'm sorry. Right. This is my first time running. I'm running for Ward 2, City Council, Ann Arbor. I've lived in Ann Arbor for really almost half my life. So I spent 4 years as an undergrad here, 2 years as a business school student, and 22 years as a resident in Ward 2. I met my husband, Ray Aldrich, at the University of Michigan. He was born and raised in Ward 2. We've raised 3 kids in Ann Arbor, and our youngest will be a senior this year at Huron. I'm a huge advocate and supporter of the Ann Arbor Public Schools and just the life that we've been able to build for our family here. And that is the reason why I'm running. There's so many great things about Ann Arbor that we can offer, or that families, when they can afford to live here, can take a part of, and that is why I'm running. So we all have the same ideas for what we're trying to do for the city. Everybody I'm hearing is affordable housing, solid infrastructure, accountability, partnership. So all the things that we want for the city, to me, seem like it's the same, which is awesome because anybody you may elect wants the same thing. However, I think our approaches might be different. So my background is in business management. I have an MBA from Michigan. I've worked for global companies like T-Mobile, like Intel, Borders. I've also worked for nonprofits, and also I had a startup at Spark. Most recently, I have a consulting practice, but most recently in a business position, I was the chief marketing officer for a cannabis company in Troy, a vertically integrated cannabis company. So some of you might know me, and I know a lot of you might not know me, but back in 2016, University of Michigan had come down and said, hey, we're putting a large industrial transit facility in your neighborhood. And so I worked with our neighbors, and we were able to work with them to work with U of M, even though everybody told us that they would never listen to us. Like, what the hell are you doing? They're never going to listen to you. But we were able to work with them to get them to really pause the bus yard, but then also reconsider it. And they moved it to another industrial facility where they tore down and put a smaller scale, and they listened to us and they worked with us. So I'm very hopeful. I know U of M has come up multiple times, But listen, Ann Arbor wouldn't be Ann Arbor without U of M. I mean, that's something that we have to acknowledge and realize. And we have so many incredible people who moved to the city because of that. And because of that, it also drives up the cost of housing. So I do support the comprehensive land use plan. However, I do believe we need to work with existing residents to make sure that what we're doing isn't going to take away from their experiences. Because Ann Arbor for all means all people who live here and people who want to live here.
And Sandy, I'm just gonna cut you off there so that someone has the opportunity to ask you a question. We don't want all your time spent.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have a question for Sandy? From the audience? No? Okay, well, I have a question for you then. What is your vision for sustainability in the city of Ann Arbor? And you only have roughly a minute for this.
Yeah. So sustainability, we have a plan in place now called A20, and that's a sustainability plan that does outline a lot of different ways to address environmental, sorry, you distracted, just to address everything. So my plan for sustainability, I guess, is to continue to push forward on what the city has already put into place, because there is a plan in place.
And that's a perfectly fine answer. Okay, thank you, Sandy, for coming out today.
Oh.
I mean, unfortunately, that's their whole time. I know, it goes by quick. It goes by quick. I know, I'm very sorry. But we also want to go home. It is a Saturday, you know, so anyways, we'll now go to Ward 3. Thank you guys for coming out today. Ashley Hall and Ryan. We will have Ashley, you can go first, and you'll have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then you guys will have 3 minutes for questions because we're kind of pushing it. So just make your answers quick and we can hopefully get more questions in.
Amazing. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you to the WCDP for organizing this event. I know how much work this takes. And also thank you to everyone who's spending their beautiful sunny Saturday morning listening to a bunch of local candidates talk. City government is incredibly important. So thank you all for being here today. My name is Ashley Hall, and I'm running for Ann Arbor City Council Ward 3 because I love this city. I grew up in a working class family. My dad worked at a print shop and my mom was a typesetter. And one of the things that I felt when I was growing up was that Ann Arbor was a place that I didn't belong. It was a place that wasn't accessible to me. It was a place where the doctors and the lawyers and the professors lived. And it wasn't a place that someone who, like me, no one in my family had ever been to college. It wasn't a place for me. But I'm a millennial. We got any millennials in the room? Okay. And I did what millennials do, and I took out a bunch of student loans that I'm still paying back, and I went to college. And when I was in college, I fell in love with public service. I fell in love with bringing together people over a shared cause, and I fell in love with fighting for the rights of everyone. And that's really been the thread that's run through my entire career. My first job was at the SEIU. I think I see an SEIU shirt over there, Dirk. My job, I organized for home healthcare workers to make a living wage. After that, in 2016, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears to Hillary Clinton's election. That was a tragic ending. But after that, I was actually lucky enough to work for Congresswoman Dingell as her political director. And currently, I'm the director of board operations for the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners. Every role that I've had has touched this community. Every role that I've had has changed this community. What I want to take with me if I'm elected to city council is that feeling. I never want a child to grow up feeling like Ann Arbor is not a place that they belong, or Ann Arbor is not a place that they can access. Thank you so much. Ryan, what does the yellow mean? Oh, okay. Well, I cut off early, but thank you all.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Ryan Bartholomew. I currently serve as State Representative Carrie Reingan's Legislative Director. I spend most of my days working on trying to deliver universal health care to all Michiganders. Look up HB 4407 MyCare. Very important to me. I have a background in public service. I was previously a senior health policy analyst through Michigan Medicine and a nonprofit. I've been an AmeriCorps Vista. I was an Obama White House intern, 2 degrees in public policy from the Ford School at U of M. But most importantly, my most important role is the husband of an Ann Arbor teacher. For far too long, we've seen so many working class people be pushed further and further out of the city of Ann Arbor, the people who serve our community. I've seen so many friends and colleagues of my wife's who just cannot live in our community, and this is wrong. We take for granted our teachers, nurses, first responders, government employees, the folks that do the work that make Ann Arbor what it is. I'm tired of seeing the current city council really be a bit more deferential to corporate interests and not so much to the working folks who make Ann Arbor what it is. We have seen our transit workers, our AFSCME government employees. These are the folks who do our work, the work like the water treatment plant. They don't have a contract. They haven't had it for months. They haven't had a raise in years. And instead of taking care of the people that take care of us, we seem to be deferential to corporate developers. I think our priorities are wrong. I think we need to do what we can to ensure that the working class people who serve our community can actually afford to live here. This is what is integral to my campaign. I have ideas of what we can do. Something that's very important to me that I hope could get brought up is that childcare is more expensive in Ann Arbor than any other community in Michigan. There was a study that came out in 2023 that found that Ann Arbor was the 6th most expensive place in the entire country to raise a child. I think we should do something about this. I'm proposing a municipal-run childcare pilot. It's time for us to take care of the people who take care of us. Thank you.
And, are there any questions from the audience for the Ward 3 candidates? We have one. Amazing. Oh, how exciting, guys. Fine.
So I fully agree with the need to, make sure our public employees can live in the city, but I'm wondering, that costs money. If you want to give people raises, that costs money. How do you intend to raise more revenue for the city so that it could afford to pay public employees better?
We are a very wealthy community. We have a budget of $640 million. We have a $1 billion bonding capacity. I'm really tired of this question because I hear it all the time, right? The issue that I hear is that, well, we don't have money in our city, so we need to build luxury condos and high rises to bring in wealthy out-of-towners who might buy a place so they can come in for 6 game days instead of actually building the housing and addressing the material needs of the people who are struggling in our city right now. So we have money at our disposal. I think the question should be, why hasn't the will been there to make sure that our working class people are well taken care of?
Thank you for the question. So I find that there are some really innovative options right now in the city to actually make it more affordable. Number one, I'm a very big fan of the Ann Arbor Community Land Trust. I think that this is actually a way that more working people who work in the city of Ann Arbor can actually afford to live in the city of Ann Arbor. That means our nurses, our teachers, making sure that the folks who live here or who work here can live here is something that's very important to me. I do agree. We are a very wealthy city. But in order to increase the amount of, the budget that we have, development is important. I think that the comprehensive land use plan provides ways for us to increase our property taxes in a really innovative and gentle way. Thank you so much.
Okay. And seeing that we have time for one more question, but make it quick, please. And I was going to ask, how do you see the interaction between the city of Ann Arbor and other government agencies or governments, especially MDOT, with our roads here in the city?
Roads. When I'm knocking on doors, I've hit around about 1,600, 1,700 doors so far. That's what everyone wants to talk about. Are you going to make sure that my road is drivable? Are you going to make sure that I can bike on my road? I actually had one conversation with a gentleman who said, I actually like that my road's in bad shape because it makes people go slower. We don't want that, right? Like, we don't want that to be the reason that people aren't speeding on our roads. Ann Arbor has an incredibly innovative and strong transportation commission. And I know that they are releasing a new strategic plan shortly. I'm someone who believes strongly in municipal government. I think that municipal government is the area that touches your daily life. Can you, do the police come when you call? Is your road fixed? Sorry, I got distracted. The gentleman's taking a phone call. roads, MDOT. Oh, okay. So partnerships between regional governments is incredibly important. And it's something that as someone who works in municipal government, I would continue to create the partnerships that I've already made, both at the county and also the federal level. Thanks for the question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. I'm someone who currently works in the state legislature, so I oversee. I don't work in the for an office that oversees transportation per se, but it is something that does come before my boss. So I would, if I'm lucky enough to be elected, would be able to leverage the connections that I have at the state level with the connections that I would have obviously at the city to try and ensure the best possible outcomes. I do hear a lot about roads as well, and what comes up for me often is about our bike lanes. I'm not opposed to bike lanes, but something that I hear often right along Platte is that because of the road diet that we have there, that people will just go 50 miles an hour down our streets and our neighborhoods, endangering the public safety. Something that I'm very concerned about. I was on Parkwood the other day, and I talked to a gentleman who has witnessed, since the bike lane has come in, 7 accidents from his window, including a woman being pulled out of her car by the jaws of life. And I think that this is just kind of emblematic of how things have been going at the city, where it's a lot of telling you how it is and not actually listening to constituents and the issues that they're facing. I pledge to folks that I will be very accessible and lead from the bottom up at the grassroots. This is very important to us. We need to be listening to our neighbors and ensuring that we're keeping with the public safety. And also just the fact that a lot of the bike lane funding was diverted away from the public safety and mental health millage. Ironically endangering some of the public safety in my neck of the woods is something that I do take issue with. I think that those are big issues that are facing our community, and we should be using the funds that we vote for on the issues that they're attempting to solve. So
Thank you guys so much for coming today. You both did great. Okay, I now ask Dave and Silva to come on up. Ward 4 representatives, my ward. So I'm going to be very harsh and mean. Right, guys? No. And your race has no incumbent, correct?
No.
No incumbent. Okay, and just like before, you each have 2 minutes. And we'll have you, Silva, you can go first just because they're holding the mic, so.
Thank you so much. My name is Aiden Sova. I was born in poverty in Southside Jackson, Michigan, with my single mother. She worked as a dry cleaner, and we had the reality in which we had bullet holes peppering the side of our apartment building, we had rusted tubs, and we had rain coming from our ceiling. This experience, being a member of a working family, taught me that we had to fight for survival in every single aspect. What did we do as a working family? We worked hard. I earned a place at the University of Michigan on scholarship, and I immediately began to do what I can for those that are a part of the underserved here in Ann Arbor. I joined the Human Rights Commission here to ensure we expand the non-discrimination ordinance, that we add transparency to our policing. I assist our Lieutenant Governor in COVID response so we can close the gap of mortality as it relates for our people of color. I, at the behest of Governor Whitmer, joined the Growing Michigan Together Council to ensure that we are investing in our infrastructure strategically and meaningfully. And then in 2023, I was elected to the Ann Arbor District Library Board of Trustees and become the youngest ever Black person elected in this city's history. In doing so, I've been able to, despite the terrible Trump administration who's seeking to cut budget, we have expanded our programming, we have protected our resources, and we have secured a path to a brand new library for no new tax dollars. In all of this, I'm very proud to say that our patrons every single day tell me 3 things. They want increased stock as it relates to housing, condos, townhomes, community land trusts, affordable housing. They want transportation, connectivity, and infrastructure investments so they can get to their job on time. They want excellent city services so they can spend their precious time elsewhere, just recovering from a hard day's work. I believe that as Ann Arbor seeks to quell its affordability crisis, we need leaders who have the lived experience and governmental expertise to deliver on day one. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Zeglin. I'm from the Fighting Fourth Ward.
The representative from the fourth. I'm a lecturer at the University of Michigan where I teach in international studies. I do not come from traditional party politics or political machines. I come from the grassroots. I've been a grassroots organizer my entire life. I served as a humanitarian worker in Palestine for a while. I also was part of the Black Lives Matter movement for 8 years in Washington, D.C. I've also been involved in anti-ICE organizing, and I'm partnering right now with Stop the Data Center in Ypsilanti, because that is not just an Ypsilanti problem, that is an Ann Arbor problem that we should all be deeply concerned about. They're taking our water, they're taking our electricity, they're displacing people that are low income and minority families, and it's also fascist because they're supporting US imperialism and sharing information with ICE. So we need to burn those data centers down. I'm also a longtime union organizer. I've been part of unions my entire life. I cut my teeth with a union when I worked on an oil rig when I got out of college. Everybody is working hard. Not everybody makes it. That's the lottery system of capitalism. And I'm fighting for unions because we need better unions in this city. We need stronger unions and we need more union density. People that belong to unions get lifted out of poverty because of the advocacy work that they do. Let's talk about housing. Housing is a problem that capitalism created, that capitalism will not solve. I agree. Supply and demand is part of capitalism. I agree with everyone who says that's economics 101. Let's graduate from the 101 class and get serious. Capitalism is about power. It's about political economy. Who has power? Who doesn't have that power? Renters don't have that power. Ordinary people, the working class, they do not have that power. I'm advocating for more power back to the people so we can actually get units that people afford. It is perverse to tell working people in the city, those luxury condos, that'll be good for you someday. Eventually, that'll trickle down you 20 to 30 years. That's a whole generation. We cannot wait that long. We need permanently affordable, publicly owned housing now. So I say to you, let's be realistic. Let's demand the impossible.
Thank you, guys. And first, I'll open it to the audience in case anyone has any questions. It looks like we have two. Amazing. I'll go over here first.
Thank you both for running for office. Appreciate your service in all capacities. My question is, how do you, so we all recognize that affordable housing is a problem right now. So given the model that both of you are proposing, how do you get that affordable housing right now, today? How do you pay for that? Thank you.
So Jennifer Hall is the executive director of the Ann Arbor Housing Commission, and of which she has had numerous presentations sharing it is a hugely complex process that requires a whole suite of partners and solutions in it. I also want to be very clear, I have a record of delivering affordable housing for Ann Arbor as president of the Ann Arbor District Library Board. Through the means of the new housing that will be a part of the equation, of that, a pillar of it is affordable housing so that we can ensure those who work downtown are able to live downtown as well. I do also believe hugely, and I want to agree with my opponent, we need a massive investment and focus on affordable housing in Ann Arbor. I grew up in affordable housing. I know what it's like to have a focused dependency on it. I am hugely focused to use whatever budgetary means that we have to invest in it. I know this to be true as a capability of mine because I manage a $23 million public budget at the Ann Arbor District Library, and every single year that I have been in leadership, we have turned over a budget surplus. Ask any library in the country, and that is bizarre.
I think there's a lot of ideas, and I think that we're mentality that we can't do anything about it and the market will just solve these problems for us, and we have to cooperate with developers all the time. We need to break out of that mindset. We have lost the muscle memory to actually think about the public good and serving in the public good's interest. So I want to see a public investment fund developed whereby the public is now a developer and it works with construction companies to build, and it ensures that there's permanently affordable housing in those units. And it also ensures that the city owns those properties indefinitely and it's below market rate. I also think we need to regulate the private market a lot more than we're doing now. I love what Ypsilanti has done with the community benefits ordinance. If we're going to give some subsidies to some sort of corporation, then there should be an ad hoc citizens community in that neighborhood that's going to be affected by that development that is negotiating directly with those developers for permanently affordable housing units indefinitely. So those are just a couple of things we can do, and we can get a lot more aggressive at actually getting the public sector to build out more without just serving these handouts for private developers. There is always money in the banana stand.
Okay. And we got one more audience question.
Hello, this question is mostly directed at Trustee Sova because I think you answered us on your website, Dave. Do you support the municipalization of the Ann Arbor electric grid? Like, I know there's a ballot initiative right now on the Ann Arbor for Public Power campaign that's been going for years. Or if you don't, what do you support instead for solving the issue of DTE power outages?
Thank you for the question. So I'm a lifelong Michigander, so ingrained in me is a hatred of DTE. They have failed me for as long as I have been alive. We have crumbling infrastructure. They are terribly unresponsive. They're frequently raising rates. And because of that, I want to answer you directly. I am supportive of the concept of public municipalization because DTE continues to fail us. Now, some of the things, thank you, some of the things that I want to color here is that I also think that beyond DTE failing us, our city council failed us by not actually passing an independent feasibility study last year in 2025. That would have allowed our organizers in A2P2 to actually fundamentally articulate what it means to get public power. Now, I mentioned earlier that I manage a $23 million public budget at the library year over year. I am deeply focused on what it means to run an entity, particularly as it relates to public dollars. My outstanding question and concern that thankfully I have talked very extensively with public power on is cost. We need to know fundamentally how much public power will cost the taxpayer. In my eyes, when I'm elected to Ann Arbor City Council, we immediately need to do two things. One, pass an independent feasibility study. This is a stated priority of Ann Arbor Public Power. This is helpful to all parties. Those who want and don't want public power want an independent feasibility study. I believe that I have the political will and means in order to get this successfully passed. Secondly, currently, we have an SEU in Ann Arbor, a sustainable energy utility. This is an opt-in means for folks to sustainably and in a way that is energy efficiently compete with DTE getting off their grid. That is good. I hear at the doors every single day that folks want to see more of that, more investments there. So again, I am hugely supportive of the concept of public municipalization. I need more answers as it relates to cost, but this functionally is something that day one on City Council, we can begin advocating for. Thank you for this question.
Yeah, I get to answer that too, right? Yeah, okay. I support public power in concept and in practice. I am very much interested in us with building out with a municipal energy grid, and I've been collecting signatures on the door for the past several months. I've been to many A2P2 events. I've been to their fishbowl, which was fantastic, and they're definitely doing fantastic work. The SEU is run by a former executive of DTE. That's important to point out. It's also important to point out that DTE is really excited about the SEU because it'll ensure that there's intermittency and we're still reliant upon DTE. The big issue with DTE, it's a corporation, it's a monopoly, it's a regional monopoly. It has massive influence on how politics are done in Lansing, and we need to gut that beast immediately. It's just not enough. This is money that's going to millionaires and billionaires that could be reinvested back in our community. Let's say it costs $300 million to get that energy grid purchase happen. We send $100 million every single year. We can pay this out quite easily. We can bond it out. These are real solutions that we can do so we can actually have energy democracy in our city because that's our power and we should have the democratic control over what we decide to do with it.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys both for coming today. We really appreciate your answers. Glad you agreed on A2P2. And now our Ward 5 candidates, can you please come up? Okay. And Jen, I'll give you 2 minutes to introduce yourself as usual, and 2 minutes for questions after that.
Thank you. I'm acutely aware that I'm between you all and the rest of this beautiful Saturday. My name is Jen Cornell, and I'm currently serving on Ann Arbor City Council. I represent Ward 5. My day job, I am the executive director of the Ann Arbor Art Center. I have my experience. I've started and run and successfully exited 2 businesses here in Ann Arbor. And during that time, 20 years of entrepreneurship, I couldn't afford to live here. And so housing is really important to me. For me, representing a voice of an Ann Arbor Public Schools parent, I'm currently the only person on council who has 2 children. I have 4 kids, but 2 who are in the public schools. That's an important voice that I bring, and it's unique to the table. The other unique voice that I bring to the table is I work downtown. I work downtown. And so understanding the importance of running a business downtown and representing the nonprofit community are 2 roles that I play. And again, a really important voice on council, especially as we consider issues around the vibrancy of downtown. I'm a huge supporter of increasing our housing stock, huge supporter of increasing density along our transit corridors. My background is I've been a board member of the Ecology Center for 12 years, so environmental issues are very, very important to me. I see density as a way to help address some of our biggest issues around the climate. Making sure that our city is walkable, however you want to get around between bike lanes, and making sure we have continuous sidewalks and great infrastructure. Those are important issues that impact all of us every single day. Huge supporter of Vision Zero and a huge supporter of A20. I think that my background makes me pragmatic in terms of having owned a business before and understanding that if you want to do something, you need to find the funding to do it. For me, that background in entrepreneurialism also means that I have a background in economic development. I worked for Spark for 15 years. So making sure that people can afford to live here, people who can want to be part of our community can find a job here, and businesses can thrive here are essentially the biggest concerns to me besides essential city services.
Thank you. And I kind of have a tough question for you. I know, since you're all alone, it's kind of mean, but we've seen in other surrounding communities, especially in Oakland County, the rise of surveillance technology, flock safety to be precise, in Oakland. The city of Ann Arbor currently has no contract with flock safety that I'm aware of. Are you willing to commit to continuing that no contract with flock safety policy?
100%. I do things every day that I don't want anyone else to know about. So, so the idea of being surveilled in any context creeps me out, and 100%. Yeah, you have my word on that.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear. Okay, does anyone have a question after that? Yeah.
That's such a trick question. I'll talk to you after.
Yeah. Okay. It is 12:11, so I think I was really successful. I'd like to quickly get the Ward 6 candidates in here, if you're okay with that. Okay, perfect. So Ward 6, the last ward. Oh, I'm the moderator for this. I thought Ward.
That's why I was like, I'm totally cool with that.
My bad. I seriously thought Ann Arbor had 6 wards. Okay, well, there we go. Thank you so much for coming.
Guys, thanks everybody for being here this gorgeous Saturday. It really shows where your hearts are. Thank you, all the candidates. Thank you, Lyndon. Thank you, Eli Nathan. Thank you, Kathy Wyatt. Thank you, always, Jim Russo. Go out and have fun. The Ann Arbor African American Festival is in full swing, so have a ball. What? Summer Streets downtown. I'm sure there's some A20 stuff going on too. So go out and have fun.